If she had only been ugly.
Hey, welcome to Don Irrera live from the Laugh Factory. You see the difference? John Heffron, thank you for coming to the show.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
John Heffron, one of the top stand-up comedians any place. I'll match him up with any of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Excuse me, John. I didn't mean to snap.
It's
Get very
okay.
emotional.
And it's good where we are at the Laugh Factory. This is comfortable for me because this is about the numbers that I'm pulling recently.
Really? Just nobody here?
Just nobody here.
It's good. It's good.
No.
So you're on the decline?
Definitely.
Your
You ever work one of those clubs where this kid said this and I didn't know what to say to him. He goes, "Yeah, our club's kind of cool. We usually get people on the way up or the way down." And so just depending on your mental state day, do you decide what guy you are?
We don't get those people that just shot to the middle and clung there.
Yeah. So
You consider yourself on the way up or down?
I consider myself, if I was to honestly think about my career, I would say stagnant. Not necessarily...
Like a polio-filled water.
Yeah, just a lot of mosquitoes. Not necessarily... you always do stuff that keeps you going. But it could be better, could be way worse. So I'm just,
Well, it could be way worse. I mean...
Way worse. I mean, I make I work 45 weeks a year as a stand-up.
You work 45 years. I thought I was a road warrior.
Yeah,
That's incredible. That's why you said this is only the second time you've been on stage here?
I've been to Laugh Factory. I've done...
May I welcome you? To the improv
I did
stage?
one set here.
Killed.
Maybe two max. Went up after Dane Cook. And the other one, I think it was like, 10 years.
How long did Dane do?
He didn't do that. He was up there for like 20 minutes.
Really?
Because I heard like, oh man, here we go,
Yeah.
And then he was up for 20 minutes, and then it was a great show. And then I think right when I first moved to Los Angeles, I had like you know what? I know where I also auditioned here for American Idol the first season when Dunkelman had it. I had a bunch of auditions because I made it kind of far.
The guy who quit?
Yeah, I made it kind of far in that. This was however many years ago. But a lot of that was done actually in here.
He's the one who quit. He was like Ryan Seacrest's partner?
And then Ryan Seacrest kind of strong-armed him out and did some shady stuff just so it was all Ryan Seacrest, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I remember I did a radio show upstairs, and he told me about, because he seemed like he had a lot of regrets about quitting. Not knowing.
I can't even speak for him, but if
yeah, you can.
I remember, it was Dunkelman, who's super funny, super great guy. Seacrest would just kind of knew how to manipulate the system more, and just started knowing how to steal lines and try to get like in that situation you have to figure out how am I going to be the breakout star, because I don't think Seacrest was. I mean, he had a radio show. He did afternoons back then, but that was it,
So you were on American Idol?
No, I was auditioning for the other spot, and we had to come here a lot.
You were auditioning to host, not to be on the show.
Yeah, we had to come to the Laugh Factory a lot, so...
You're not a singer?
Yeah, no. Just
you were on...
and then shortly after, I did make it onto a reality show.
Last Comic Standing.
Which would be Last Comic Standing. And when I was on and won Last Comic Standing, it was more of a reality show. Because it was 10 years ago when I was on.
Was this with Tammy and all them?
Tammy Pescatelli, Alonzo Bowden, Kathleen Madigan, Todd Glass, Bonnie McFarlane, Corey Holcomb, and that was it. And
did you guys have to live in a house
We
together?
had to live in a house.
I remember being offered the possibility of that, and I was afraid to live in the house.
Yeah, they did. Living in the house was interesting, but like now all the Last Comics now, there's none of the house stuff.
Now they're all like older than... I mean, now they're like 50-year-olds, Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, I mean, this season had Schubert and, Rocky Laporte. I've always thought, like, that's a way funnier show than what they did earlier seasons when, like, after my season, after season 2 or 3.
Well, they were going after new guys then.
Then they went, and I remember seeing a casting thing where they wanted young, good-looking comics or whatever to kind of...
That leaves me out.
Yeah. And then they, so they started casting those guys. But, now you're getting guys that have 6 minutes of material that are mediocre hosts at best.
Was that the Dat Fan era?
Dat Fan was the very first.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Nice kid.
Super nice. He gets Dat gets a lot of bad rap from comics. I think it's unjustified. He was a kid. He not a kid. He was a guy who auditioned for a show, and they never booted him off the show, and he won it. Like, at what point, there's not a single comic that would be in his situation that would go, you know what, guys, I don't really deserve this. Let's give it to Rich Voss, somebody who's been around and is funny.
Right.
So people like to crap on him when he had as much experience doing his last comic and winning it as Amy Schumer did when she was on her last comic.
Oh, she won it too?
No, she didn't win it. She was in but she was new. I think even Eliza was new. That's the thing. So you can be new on last comic and then go on to do great things.
Well, I work with that fan in San Francisco, and I have never drawn so many Cambodians and Laotians.
Yeah, it's good.
But it was really fun. He was a great kid. He did 25 minutes, and he really packed the place. And I had somewhat of a draw, but it was really him. And it was such an odd thing, And then he said, "Thanks a lot for doing the show with me because I can't do more than 25."
Yeah. So
I did 30 because I killed.
Yeah. So now they have the more seasoned comics, which I think in the long run is better for everybody because.
Well, they're going to get a better show.
You're going to get a better show when people watch it, and then just those guys don't realize. When I was on, I did 12 6-minute sets. They had us do more stand-up than...
Were you writing as it went along?
I know. I was just, going to the vault and just going, what do I have left? Because I never repeated anything. And then...
How long have you done stand-up until you got to that point?
10, 12, 13 years.
Wow. So you started really young.
I started at 18. I was 18, started doing open mics in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Lucy Liu was a waitress, and she said...
Lucy Liu's beautiful, right?
Yeah, but she was a waitress.
How'd she look in a waitress outfit?
We sat in her section. She was the reason why we went to this club on Tuesdays for free. We were 18. We couldn't drink. We'd watch open micers, sit in her section.
Our producer, Greg, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
You're the man. Appreciate it, my brother.
No worries.
And then she said, you guys ever gonna get up and do open mics? Or you're here. And then all of us said, yeah, of course we are. And then I think Lucy Liu ended up leaving the club 2 weeks later. So she doesn't realize it. And I've told the story before.
To her?
Yeah, I know. You know how it works out for a lot of
wait
staff.
Hot. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's had a great career, but she actually pushed me into mine. So those of you who do not like John Heffron's style of comedy, you can blame Lucy Liu.
What is there not to like? May I ask you, what is there not to like?
People.
You're a storyteller. You're funny.
I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
I'm not edgy, which makes me not cool. Like there's some street cred you don't get when you're a cleaner act that doesn't swear a lot and doesn't talk about masturbation and pot every 5 seconds. But I've always done stand-up that way. Like, I think that other stuff...
I actually masturbate on my pot. Is that wrong?
No, that's good. It adds a little bit of a thing to
you
it.
Smoke? You don't smoke, do you?
No.
I don't smoke. I haven't smoked since, 30 years. I mean, I smoked like once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
Now, you, when I first met you, can we talk about that a little?
Yeah.
You were kind of a rowdier kid.
Keep in mind, when we met, that was pre-last comic. So that was...
Was it really?
Almost 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember you, but...
So I'm 44 now.
How did we know each other then?
I think we met that night.
Oh, okay.
We were in Faneuil Hall in Boston, and you popped in. I was performing, and you had a corporate, and then we were at the club, and we started just drinking.
We went to that club.
And we started doing shots of tequila.
Really?
Yeah, I did. This is where, and then you saw the tequila John come out.
Oh, yeah.
I get a little feisty.
Different John. You were feisty. I was worried, man. I thought, geez, I hardly know this kid, and I don't want to see him or especially me getting beaten up. Not that I know you're a tough guy.
No, but that was
you're a martial artist, right?
Well, I've done Krav Maga for 15 years.
What's
so,
that?
But it's just a form of martial arts and
Jiu-jitsu or
yeah, it's just Israeli self-defense type stuff. I've just always been into fighting and knives and guns. I've just always like that's the weird thing I do. Like when I'm in Los Angeles. For a little bit of time.
You go to shooting ranges?
I go to shooting ranges. I go to knife fighting class. I'm a wuss, though. Like, I'm so worried. As much money...
Knife fighting class?
Yeah. Yeah, because I figure I'm going to get older. The older I get,
Yeah.
the less in shape I'm going to be.
This is your future.
So, yeah. So I have to eventually even out the odds. So I'm either learning knife fighting, because I can always have a knife on me, or eventually I switch it to cane fighting.
You can't take knives from the plane, though.
You can put it in your checked baggage. You know what I mean?
Are you checked bags?
I go in phases. Sometimes I have it dialed down till I don't. Then I'm trying to, I'm so bored on the road, and I'm so sick of being starving. Like, a lot of times you're at a club, and the hotel is in just a crappy area, and there's no food, and you get in.
So you're really like a soldier on the road. I mean, you literally go, 45 weeks is a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
How do you stay married?
Being on the road 45 weeks.
You have kids?
Nope. No. It's too much. You know, you can tell.
You just can't say no?
Well, it depends. I mean, there's some clubs. Do you ever work clubs that, like, when you leave them, you go, I'm never coming back here again. You know, you just from the experience, from top to bottom, from the manager to the wait staff to the club itself, you're like, you know what, this. And then for me, I always say that at some clubs, and then a year later, I'm back, and that just when I walk in through the door, I just feel like I let myself down somehow. You know,
I've been doing the same clubs for such a long time. I don't really have that one. There was one club in San Antonio that the staff was not friendly, and I didn't want to go back there. They actually talked about me like I wasn't there. She goes, "What time's the headliner go on?"
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I am the headliner. I could tell you what time I go on.
Yeah.
They weren't even talking to me. That's very rare, though. Usually, did you ever go to that place, Mr. Magooby's?
Mm-mm.
Hottest waitress I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's weird because now it's so...
Towson, Maryland. Who would have thought?
It's so different. Like, I did comedy towards the late 80s. So I was I came in, I was new at the tail end of like, the big bubble. And, you know, it was all kind of mom and pop comedy clubs were the waitress. And now that, most comedy clubs are, restaurants, basically.
Yeah.
The restaurants first, and then, comedy clubs. So I was at a club, and it's great because you have 500 people there, and I'm not saying there's anything bad with that, but I was at a club off Broadway in Kentucky. So you walk in this place.
That's really off Broadway.
Yeah, it's pretty far. You walk in, and you're like, they have headshots of guys from the 80s. And those clubs bum me out a little because you can look at the wall and start seeing who's not around anymore.
Right.
Type things.
Here's our dead wall.
Yeah, and the club itself could use some paint. And I had some of the greatest shows there. And I think like by show 2 or 3, I was like, why are these shows so good here? It's because there's no food being served.
Right. I never saw like an hour of you. Because we never get to work together. No. That's what was fun about Montreal.
Yeah, just hanging.
At least we could hang a little.
Yeah.
It's like Montreal's kind of like a comedy camp for headliners.
Yeah. Get to hang out and see people and then get inspired, or you go, there's nothing funny to ever think about. And then you see, the new faces, the new comics, and you're like, there's a lot of funny stuff. I'm just not thinking of it.
What show did you do? A relationship show?
I did all the relationship shows, and then I hosted all the new faces.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because you were telling me the night you got that.
Yeah.
Did you have fun up there?
I moved it along fast. Like, that was my goal, and every industry person that I ran into in the elevator was like, thank you so much. Like, I didn't do... Like, when you're hosting a show, your job as a host is to make the whole show good. Like, it's not about you. It's not about you, and you have to get that out of your brain. So I did, like, 10 minutes up front, and then not a joke in between anybody.
Yeah. I mean, like, your show is so much different than mine because mine was, you're like trying to build these kids up and make them feel good. where I'm trying to tear them down,
Right.
make them feel bad. But it's still, I had all friends on the show.
Right, yeah.
So I would give like intros like, this next guy, not my cup of tea, but you may like him. Like just
Which
bust
is
the ball.
hilarious. Yeah.
But it's different though, because these guys are all like, it's called the All-Star Show, and they're all like vintage pros who are big enough to be on this show, but don't have that worldwide following to do the galas. So they would have guys like Chevy Chase on the gala, and we'd have Adam Hills, who's much funnier than Chevy Chase, on this show.
Adam Hills is from Canada,
Australia.
He's the guy who I hung out. I talked to that guy, Adam Hills. In Montreal. Super cool guy. Like just
Great guy.
Beyond, just as cool. And then I saw a post on him on Facebook. I didn't realize how big he was over in Australia. Like he has like
And in England.
he has a David Letterman show. He's of that area.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't act that way.
Not at all.
Never once did he even throw out. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a huge national television show that I'm But he challenged the Westboro. Do you see that? He gave a speech to the Westboro Baptist Church people that if they're so into Jesus, there's a group of people cutting off people's heads because they're into Jesus. They should go picket ISIS or whatever it's called in Iraq. And he said that he would pay. It's a viral video. It's really funny.
Wow.
And he goes, I'll pay your first class ticket. I'll fly you and a group out there. You want to picket those guys. And I think they took him up on it.
Really?
Yeah. But talking to the guy, I didn't realize he was such a,
Yeah, I'm the godfather of his first kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small world, man. That's amazing. Yeah, I saw you hanging out with him.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, he kept giving me, because I did the gala, and I've never, out of 23 years, I don't think I've ever written a set list down, ever.
It's a pain in the ass, isn't it?
It's just, I see those guys, now, it works for everybody else but me, so I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong or making fun of it, but I just see people with their note, like, and the comics in the back with their notes, I'm going to do this into this. And
Didn't somebody help you with the gala? Those are like Pat Buckles or...
those guys, there's people when you do Just for Laughs gala that run your set with you.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you're not saying anything that's going to piss off the sponsors and stuff like that,
Right.
So you got to kind of take their notes and then do whatever you want.
I mean, like the reason I don't do a lot of those shows, not that I'm so in demand, but I have been offered them, is that I hate writing those sets. And like I really like Craig Ferguson. I like Kimmel too, and Fallon. But I just don't feel like writing 5-6 minutes of that, because it doesn't mean anything anymore.
No, you could do a Tonight Show 1,000,000 times.
Nobody fucking noticed.
Yeah. Maybe if I think there's a couple wheelhouses. If you're a younger alternative-y comic and you do like Conan, you can get those people to come out and see you.
Yeah.
But
I forgot Conan was still in the air. No, it's amazing. And I know that he does a good show and all.
Yeah.
I never hear anybody talking about it. Once in a while, I'll have one of his writers on this show.
Yeah, it's the thing as a comic. You eventually age out of the people that want to come to the show.
Well, that's what's great about social media, because have you noticed that you have like teenagers and stuff to follow you now?
I have, when I was on Last Comic 10 years ago, it was a lot of parents with their kids watching it.
Yeah.
So now those kids
are grown up.
Are in their 20s.
That's cool, yeah.
And they're coming to the show and said, I used to sit with my mom and dad, and we used to watch you. You are a favorite. So there's, a small group of people that I've kind of locked into their childhood,
Yeah, well, it's
kind of
very
cool.
Well, I don't know if I told you this when we were in Montreal, but I went to Gibby's, which is a steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for a couple of Danny Robinson, a couple people, and this girl and her mother came up to me, and the girl was real nervous about meeting me, so I thought, I guess I'm a big deal to her. And anyway, long story short, her mom goes to get a camera, and I said, how old are you? She goes, 12. I go, 12? You know my act? She goes, I've been a fan of yours since I was 7.
Oh, my God.
I go, what kind of parents let a 7-year-old watch a pig like me? But anyway, isn't that weird? I mean, that's all social media. It's all like the internet.
People on YouTube,
Twitter and whatever. Kids do, go on all that shit.
Yeah, and that's
They Google us, man.
Yeah, I mean, But I also think that makes it harder for, comics, because if you have a bunch of stuff online, people will watch that before they actually buy tickets or come and see you.
Yeah.
I've had people go, we watched all your YouTube videos and they came and saw you. So now if they hear the same exact stuff you have on YouTube,
but we don't have any control over what
no,
they put
but
on.
as far as a comic, like if you did comedy in the 80s, I think, but I came around the tail end. If you were a headliner, you could get away with doing your same 45 minutes for a whole lifetime, because there was nobody would ever. Where now it's not that easy to do that. You put out an album, it's on Pandora, people hear it, and you got to crank out new. So you just keep throwing more and more stuff.
Do you sell merchandise?
I have a book called "I Come to You from the Future" that I sell.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you carry that?
I drop ship them, and I don't send that many. I send 30. I stand out and say goodbye to everybody anyway and take pictures. So I figure since I'm out there, I might as well at least have something on a table so I don't look like I'm needy and I'm standing out there for no reason. You know what I mean? So the books,
I think it's a nice gesture.
Yeah, you make no money selling the books, but it's just kind of, you're there.
I think it's cool though when you don't have anything to sell and you're standing out there.
Yeah, I've always done it.
It's kind of like
people remember, take pictures. People remember when you come back. They're like, "Hey, last year, remember we talked?" And for some weird reason,
look how much fatter you got this year.
Yeah, well, they always show pictures. They'll go, "We took a picture with you last year," and a couple times it's embarrassing when I'm wearing the same shirt. Or you're like, "Okay, well."
What do you got coming up that you want to plug?
I'd like to plug my book. I Come to You from the Future. It's on Amazon. It's on anywhere online you can buy it. It's just like $4.99.
How about
on
clubs
Kindle.
like in 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
I will be in a few weeks. I will be in Hartford, Funny Bone, and then I'm in Jacksonville, and then from there I am at Helium in Philly.
Oh, good. That's my hometown.
Yeah, I'm going to record a CD there. That's another thing. I don't know if I want to put out a special or a CD. That's a whole...
It's a great club, Helium.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I play there like Thanksgiving, stuff like that, to go home.
It's a perfect size.
Yeah.
The crowd's always,
Yeah, I got Denver coming up. I'm into Comedy Works. I think I'm downtown this time.
I usually do Denver Comedy Works, the not downtown room. I do.
I got the Laugh Factory in Chicago, and which is a really fun club. And something, the Governors, and you ever worked that?
In New Jersey?
No, Governors in Long Island. Governors in the Brokerage.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite clubs in the world.
I think I've been there.
Bananas.
In Cincy?
No, we got another banana. Is it yours bananas or sloppy bananas or split bananas? Banana splits or...
I think it's been... I don't know.
Going bananas?
Maybe that's
Mine is just bananas.
Okay.
That's in Hasbrook Heights. There's a lot of variations on banana.
That's funny.
For comedy clubs. I'm working in Canada too, and doing a tour with Just for Laughs.
I've done it 3 times.
Gabriel Iglesias on it.
Oh, really?
That'll be fun.
You're gonna be sold out all the shows are sold out anyway. You go and you run that. You start in Newfoundland, you start in St. John, and then you end in Vancouver.
No, this is the one that's just around Toronto.
Oh, okay.
It's only 4 or 5 shows.
Oh, okay.
Go into Toronto. We do Hamilton.
Okay.
Massey Hall in Toronto.
Yeah.
And Ottawa. I know that.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, I've done the Just for Laughs where you go from coast to coast.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
So you're
that's
on
nice,
for 2 months straight.
Oh my God.
And you probably do 15, 20 shows. Every day you're in a different city. Simon, the guy who's the tour manager.
I remember Simon.
He has it dialed down. This dude is just like, we leave the hotel at 11:43. We'll be at the gate and he's got it mapped out that there's no, it's a hard out. If he says you're leaving at 11:43, that's not come down at 11:47 and get coffee.
Right.
It's subtract it and you're leaving. And it's just so nice. Like, I've never had, as a comic, I've always been just the road dog where I kind of deal with, but that's a situation where you don't have to touch your bags.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, you throw them on the bus, they're on the plane, they're at your hotel. When you get to the hotel, Simon's there with your keys. You don't even have to check in. He just hands you your keys. Then you get a sheet of paper saying, be downstairs at this time. And it's just, everything's mapped out.
I never saw a stand-up tour like that. I mean, I used to be on tour with Cher, and that was like that. You put your bag outside, and they'd grab them, and you didn't do anything.
And you're with 5 comics during that time, but the thing is
you better like them, huh?
Yeah, but it's weird. If you're with 5 guys, you know, you start your little group, like 2 or 3 that you're close with, and then that's your group, and you might start talking trash about the other ones. But then as the tour, then that group changes. You know, it's only a matter of time. We're comics.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
You didn't hear it? Mm-mm. Yeah, you ever get anybody you couldn't stand?
No, just, you know, I'm pretty low-key. So if you're with somebody who's really high-key all the time, that gets a little rough, you know?
Who's this?
Just anybody. If you know, you're just around the comic who just is always comic-y, nonstop, at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
Just energy and just always making kind of a scene. It just, that gets annoying.
It was interesting because when we were at the bar, nobody was like that. Al Madrigal.
Nobody.
When we were hanging out in Montreal.
Yeah.
This is a thing from my girlfriend. Okay, today and last night I tried every number. I got your cell phone numbers, a weird beep, forgot the rate. Oh.
She typing like this, or is it?
Yeah, I don't need it anymore. Love you, I'll call you later.
So out of that, she tried to get a hold of you, couldn't.
Should I call her?
So she doesn't need your...
Will you talk to her?
She doesn't need your number anymore?
No, she doesn't need the guy's thing anymore. She wanted me to get some radio guy in Philly, which show I would love to help you get on.
What show is that?
WIP Sports Radio. Because it's a really big show. There's Preston and Steve and that.
Yeah, I do. I might do those. I don't know. I do Preston and Steve.
Preston and Steve are good.
Yeah, I like those guys. That's always weird because some morning show guys, you're just like, But even the morning show guys thing is going away. Like, that isn't as big as it, you know.
Yeah, but it still has some clout. I mean...
No, in some of those cities, yes.
Do you tweet?
Yeah.
What's your Twitter number?
At John Heffron.
I'm at Dom Irrera.
JOHNHEFFRON.
Well, I'd say follow John. John's a terrific comedian and also a martial arts expert and dancer. See, I make you an expert. Will you tell this girl, please? Would you mind telling her that?
What do you want to tell?
That I'm hosting a show, and I'm and I love her, but I'm not at her beck and call.
Do you want me to say that to her?
Well, just say it in a nicer way.
Do you want me to say it over? What's her name? Okay.
Just tell her that Thanks, John.
Yeah, no problem. I'm calling right now.
So
Hey, this is John Heffron. I'm a comedian. I'm doing the podcast with Dom right now. And
who is
this is John Heffron. I'm a comedian.
Oh, hi, John Heffron.
Hi. So I'm doing the podcast with Dom, and he you texted during the show, and he told me, because we're recording this for the podcast, he told me, asked if I could just call you and go, listen, you really want me to say this to her? Like,
yes, say it.
Okay. So he's like, listen, I'm not at your beck and call, all right? You don't just flip the switch in the homing pigeon and then.
Me right now, okay? You're calling me right now because he wants something from me. He wants a joke or something. He's not on point today. I don't have it in me. I'm at work. Tell him he has to get his own material and he needs to stop using his old stuff.
She's right.
Yeah, you might. Yeah,
she's right.
Or you can text him that. See, I'm not talking.
Can I call you when the show's up?
I don't have time for these comedians.
Okay.
I don't have time for it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm a busy girl.
I know you're.
If you need something from me, you can text me.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you. Why don't you run across the bridge? I'll talk to you later.
Bye. I'll call you later.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Well,
These
Said
comedians.
I.
She refers to us as these comedians.
what you call us?
These comedians.
These comedians.
Yeah.
Like we're like joke monkeys. Like we're not
Yeah, like-
individuals.
like, yeah, like,
She's busy. She's at work. Well, if she's so fucking busy, why is she talking to us?
right? She had an option. She didn't need to answer the phone, right?
She's a friend of mine.
That's what.
Platonic friend, I might add.
Okay, that's good.
You gotta.
Yeah, because
straighten
I don't know. Yeah, because if you get that mad at you, then, you know.
Then there must be something going on.
I felt I'm gonna go through the entire day today feeling like I was yelled at.
John, I want to talk to you about your marriage.
Okay.
It's disconcerting to me that that a woman could even be bitchy at all to a good guy like you. And if you need to talk about it, if you need to vent,
This is the place.
this is it.
I'm pretty messy. You know, I think that's a bad thing about being on the road so much is you're used to living the way you want to live, and then those 4 days that you're at home, you know, just throwing clothes on the floor. You know, you get bad habits when you're in the hotel. Like, I'm not overly clean. Like, when you go to hotels, do you put your clothes away? Do you put them in the drawers?
No.
Right. Like, in the history...
That's disgusting.
In the history of the world, no one's ever set up shop in a hotel. Or at least we don't.
And I know a guy who works security for sure. He didn't take anything out of his bag. He opened his bag.
Yeah, I don't take anything. My suitcase, I open it.
Yeah.
And I take my shirts I perform in, and I hang them up because I end up having to iron them. But I base everything out of a bag, and then I have a second like laundry bag hanging on the door, and I rotate and throw it all in there. And then on Sunday before the show, I pack, so I kind of feel like I'm already gone, and then I do that Sunday show.
I want you to be honest with me now.
Okay.
Brutally honest.
Okay.
Do you change your underwear every day on the road?
Every day. I almost go two underwears a day on the road.
You soil them?
I've always, when I perform, I have to be completely clean. New socks, new underwear, everything.
Even in your act is clean.
Even in my act. From bottom to top.
I'm a little dirtier.
Yeah.
My act is dirtier and my underwear.
Only recently have I decided to wear like the same shirt twice in a week. Like I never used to do that, and now
You can do that. Nobody cares.
nobody cares. And
You think they're going, didn't he have that shirt on last
Nobody.
night?
Nobody
First of
cares.
all, they all dress with waitress outfits. What do they give a fuck?
Yeah, but they were in the same. They were in the same stuff every
Same
single day
stinky
anyway.
stuff.
Yeah. So
Stank pussy.
Yeah. Why do I care? I don't care.
You don't care. You don't need that shit.
I don't. I got other things.
Where are you going to next?
I am in. Physically, I think I go to Hartford, Connecticut,
When are you doing Helium? Because I want to plug that for you.
in September 17th, whatever weekend that is. September 17th, 18th, 19th. You know.
I hope the show will be out by then.
Yeah.
But do me a favor. Call me if you're having trouble with any of the press, because I'm connected there because of Philly,
Perfect.
because of my hometown.
All right.
Seriously, it'll help.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe we can lob out a tweet telling people they should go see me. And I'll tweet you that you're someplace. We got to start as comics. You got to put out the spider web.
How many followers you have?
I don't have that many. I have like 20 something.
That's all right.
I don't work to like. I never tell people to follow me.
I know, me neither. I always forget.
I'm really bad at pushing that. And
Yeah.
then even it changes too much. Like my daughter is 20, and she doesn't. They don't tweet.
Does she live at home?
She's in the Air Force, so she's gone.
You have a daughter in the Air Force?
Yeah,
Wow.
stepdaughter, but I don't get too technical. I've known her forever, since she was a little kid.
You love her like a daughter.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they don't tweet. Her age group doesn't tweet. All they do is Instagram. Like, so Facebook and tweeting is for old people compared to them. So then you're like, ugh, I got an Instagram now. And it's just, there's too much, dude. There's too much.
How about Vine? You do Vine?
Nope, gave that up.
Chris D'Elia is great at Vine.
Yeah, and it's a whole, but who's got that type of,
I don't know
like,
how.
cranking out.
7 seconds?
Yeah, I just, you know.
How funny can it be in 7 seconds?
I mean, there are some funny ones, but I don't have that. Maybe at 19 or 14, I could have that brain to do that. Bo Burnham has some really funny vines, but it's just, and it's also I don't want to do that. I don't care.
You don't want to be that guy.
Although the Vine people, there's some Vine people that make a lot of money.
Hell.
They get sponsored because they have millions of people watch their Vine videos,
Really?
and then a Pepsi will go, "Hey, put a Pepsi can on your table next time you kicking your roommates in the nads," and they make money. My niece went to a concert from people that it's a husband and wife team. They just sing songs. You know, they have their like an alternative-y, not even funny. They just like Hall & Oates, but with a guy and a girl, and they have so many Vine views. Like they have millions and millions of
7
views.
seconds?
In 7 seconds, they sing 7 seconds of a song, and these sell out theaters of like 11 to 13-year-old girls showing up to see him. But $25, you know, $20
amazing.
is $20 for a ticket. Whether your some kids' parents are paying for it, or you're getting it from the parents.
Amazing how much time people spend on it.
Yeah, I don't. It's just, or even then you got to do a podcast, and then after you do the podcast, you go, does anybody even listen to the podcast?
Oh, do you have a podcast?
I just started. I have one called The State I'm In. John Heffron, The State I'm In.
Just you on it?
Just me, which is hard, because I'm not good at just talking about myself.
Bill Burr has one.
And I listen to his, and his is awesome. And
I've done his though.
Yeah, well, mine is I talk about what state I'm in physically and mentally. So I think I'm going to I had Martha Quinn, the original VJ, on my first episode. And then I'm going to have just whatever's going on in my brain. So I have like a lot of money issues right now, like trying to figure out some stuff. So I'm going to have my business manager on, and we're going to talk about the money of comedy and why do comics make a lot of money and end up broke. Not that.
Is that true?
Everybody does. I don't know. I mean, you know.
You're just making that up?
No, I don't think every comic's broke, but I think people like entertainers that make a lot still sometimes end up broke. And then,
Well, a lot of athletes do, I know that.
And then you go, wait, you made that much money. How did you end up? But so I'm going to talk about the breakdown of how much money you actually don't make.
Did you make a lot of money on Last Comic Standing?
Not on the actual show. We didn't. Our season had I think now it's $250,000. Ours was only $50,000.
But you went on the road. But see, the difference between you and like a lot of guys, you actually have an act.
Yeah,
So
I was on the road. I was able to go on the road. I do a lot of corporate events.
Oh, yeah?
So
because you're clean.
Yeah, it's kind of where my bread and butter is now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, and I wish I could be edgy and dirty. Like trust me, like I'm going through a phase where I'm like, man, but you kind of get in that thing where the people who come and see you, if they're expecting this, and then you give them, you're like, nope, I'm having a personality change.
Right.
What's with Obama? And I'm suddenly political. Then everybody who's been a fan of mine for 23 years, even though funny's funny.
I remember Seinfeld said to me one time he painted himself into a corner by being too clean because he felt like, he would just like to say some other stuff, but
I'm not Brian Regan. I always get that I'm an edgier Ray Romano. Because I'll drop F-bombs, and so the stuff I talk about isn't Disney, but at the same token, I'm not, if I talk about sex, I try to do it in a way that a 18-year-old open micer wouldn't talk about that situation.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what you try and be creative, but then there are certain words like jizz that just make me laugh.
Yeah.
Jizz.
Yeah, I have words that I say fuck that I go, I wish I could, but I think the word makes, because I don't swear that much, that when I do say it, when I do say it strategically, it really drives the point home.
What do you think's the funniest word?
I don't know.
I think jizz is for me.
You think?
He jizzed over the head. You jizzed. Just to get
jizz is good.
It is.
I'm trying to think of funny.
We used to say jit, too.
Jit?
Jit.
Did jit mean jizz?
Yeah.
I've never heard of jit.
Well, you're not from Philly.
They had jit all over.
See, in Philly, you say he's a jerk-off. In Chicago, you say he's a jag-off.
Yeah, because I lived in Chicago for a while. I'm from outside of Detroit originally, then lived in Chicago for like 5 or 6 years.
Where, like Auburn Hills?
I grew up right on Ann Arbor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
Eastern Michigan. Yeah. So when I lived in Chicago, all my Chicago friends were all these guys that jag off.
Jag off.
Yeah. That I still say jag off. I think jag off is a good word.
Jag is fun. Yeah, jag.
Yeah, this guy's a jag.
Yeah.
Or
Jizz got so much water in it though. Jizz.
and it means so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just you get a visual when you say jizz. There's immediately you get the image that goes along with it.
Spunk.
Yeah, spunk's good. Yeah.
You know what word women hate is moist.
Yeah, moist and tit. I did when I did morning.
But titty sounds to me like immature. Like
I did a morning
9-year-old.
morning radio show in Detroit, and we did. They used to do these focus groups where you'd have a conversation, and then you'd have women behind a glass that you didn't see were rating your conversation. Like, I like what they're talking about. I don't, and whatever. And then as like an experiment, we had to throw in certain words, and you would see the word spike. Like if you said, I like that girl's boobs, then that's fine. I like that girl's tits. Now suddenly, women, because tits, for some reason, sound just so, I don't know, what's the word? Not derogatory, but it's a safer play to say nice boobs. You have beautiful boobs than saying you have nice tits.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So when I see comics going, then my girlfriend's tits are like ba 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 ba, and whatever the joke, I always go, you know what? I'm not telling you not to do that joke, but just say my girlfriend's boobs, and you're gonna see because you'll see less women cross their arms during your show. But I'm a big linguistic guy. I'm big on using words and then looking and see when I said that word, what happens, and then adjusting it and stuff like that. I'm into that.
I mean, like the difference between, excuse me, I got to do a number 2, as opposed to I got to take a humongous dump.
Yeah.
It's
the
image
different.
is definitely.
Yeah, and some people, and I never want to hit like in my shows, I never want to hit the brakes, or I never want to zap them out of them being along the ride. I never want to do a thing that goes,
right.
Because I used to, now I'm going to get real tech, I used to do a thing in my act where I would say, hey, think of your dad's face the night before you went on vacation. And everybody would laugh, and it would laugh hard, even though I didn't say anything. Like, I would tell them, and then I would nail that impression of their dad. I would nail it because I told everybody. And then I would do, I don't do it anymore, but I would say, like, hey, imagine your kid being gone all day, and you don't know where he is. I go, you know that feeling in your stomach? My parents never had that. And then I would go on with the joke. Mm-hmm. And then I had a buddy of mine who's also into all this stuff. He said, you ever notice after you do that joke, your joke, you could put any other joke right after that, and it's never going to get a big laugh because you've just asked them, I want you to imagine your kid being kidnapped. Imagine your kid being missing.
Oh. Right.
And I never close up that loop on them. Then I just go off. So that's like some, you know what I mean? That'd be like us. So now I changed that up. But it's weird, like little stuff like that makes a difference when you're talking.
Well, you said something interesting before about how they expect a certain thing from you. Yeah. If you go over those lines, they might not, because you train them in a certain way, and that's why they came to see you. And then, so if you go off into too many tits, they're going to be...
Yeah, I thought about doing it because I really, where I tell the audience exactly what I just told you, going, here's the situation I'm in. I've always done, you think you grew up with me, or I sound like your husband. I've always been relatable, but I just kind of want to change things up where then, you can even point at a different part of the stage where you go, you know what? I need to have 2 different personalities. When I'm over here, I'm going to be a little different than here. And then that would give me permission that every time I'm on the left side of the stage to be the bad Spider-Man for a second. And I think people would allow me to do it. But I have to set it up that way.
Right.
I know it's kind of, parlor trick, but, I'm also for the show. Like, I don't do, like, my shows... I think about it as a show, not as a joke 1 through 50. There's a reason, there's a middle, there's a thing, and then I call back that, I try to...
Are you that organized?
In my brain, I am.
Yeah.
But I used to do I would start my bit with went on vacation with my family, and then I would end it with, then we pulled up into to the park, and the whole hour was basically this trip, and then side things, and then I always come back to then so then we're driving, and then I'd go off. Hey, ladies, you ever get in an argument like that? Right. And then I'd come back. So there was a through line throughout the entire show, and it just makes people follow along better.
That's interesting. I had one thing like that about punching my cat, and I would, because I was, I go back to it's very hard to hit that low. It's like hard to get leverage, and then I go off on something else, and because the truth of the matter was, I punched this cat because he shit in my gym bag, right? And I really hit him, John. I mean, but it is hard to hit low compared to straight across, the leverage. And I swear I flipped him, he flipped completely around, and he just kept walking. I was going this way anyway. Fuck, you can't rock my boat. And, that was the gist of it. But I did that with, I never did it with anything else but that one subject.
Yeah, I love it. I've always done it that way.
It's amazing how you can get away with certain things because people, and rightfully so, love animals.
Yeah.
And to make something like punching your cat in the face, he would have to shit in your gym bag. You'd have to do something.
Yeah, you have to make.
You have to make it some kind. You can't just say I fucking punched my cat.
Right.
I was angry at myself.
Yeah.
Because I can't get a job, so I hit my animal.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate
it. Great, great having you. And I want to make sure you plugged in up for your dates.
If you go to johnheffron.com, JOHNHEFFRON. Stuff's there. Facebook /John Heffron, Twitter @John Heffron, comedian John Heffron on Instagram.
Maybe we'll get together and work one of those Canada shows, but not for 2 months.
That's long.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a social experiment.
I'm a 2-week at the most guy.
Yeah.
Do you go to Australia or any of those places?
No, I would like to, just to change it up. That's another good thing about my act. It's not very, it could be done anywhere.
That's good.
I'm sure wives act the same in Australia than...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I used to be more Italian.
Uh-huh.
And then this guy, Red Buttons, you remember him?
Yeah.
He told me, he says, don't paint yourself into that Goomba thing. He says, you're better than that. And so instead of an Italian comedian, I became a comedian who happens to be Italian.
Right.
And it seemed to help broaden my fan base.
Yeah.
If I may say fan base without sounding pretentious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, John, thanks for being on the show, my brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you
John
so much.
Heffron.
Sorry your girlfriend's mad at me. Make sure you square that.
It's not my girlfriend. She's a friend of mine.
A friend of yours. Yeah, make sure that you square that over. I don't like anybody not liking me. And I could tell from her tone. She wasn't.
No, she was trying to be funny.
She wasn't that into
liked
me. She's at work. Sometimes
busy.
You got to think about her. She's at work.
Well,
but then at the same token, if she's an acquaintance of yours, then who cares?
How busy could she be if she called?
That's right. Yeah. You ever do that when people when you call somebody and they're like, what? I'm slammed.
What the fuck did you pick up the phone for?
Then throw me to voicemail. Yeah, that's all I need. They put the pressure on me.
I know.
Yeah.
John Heffron, thank you,
so
brother.
much.
See you next week.